A baby born with organs outside his body.
Some of these kids don't make it. I mean, they do die from this.
Living in the shadows when sunlight becomes a killer.
Just opening the door either to get the mail is potential for damage.
A leg is sliced through.
The propeller on the airplane essentially cut the minivan in two.
A crash landing in just the wrong place. Defying his doctor's predictions.
They pretty much prepared us that he was probably going to die.
A triple amputee's incredible recovery. The curse of a modern-day elephant man.
It feels like it's pretty much like death for me. It hurts.
The most incredible species on the planet is human. Born with a gaping hole in his tiny abdomen.
We were just terrified of the health of our baby.
He needed surgery fast.
The idea is to operate very quickly to avoid any infection.
Baby Jackson Lickman's development had gone terribly wrong. His abdominal wall had not fully formed, leaving an opening. His liver and intestines had grown outside his body.
And the question is, can you get it all back in and closed? Because if it's too tight, then he's going to have some serious issues with his breathing or his kidneys or other things.
Jackson had what's called an omphalocele. No one knows why, but 1 in 10,000 babies are born with this.
Some of these kids don't make it. I mean, they do die from this.
A routine ultrasound at 11 weeks had spotted an anomaly. This was the first indication that Jackson had a problem.
And then the doctor came back in, and he said that the baby's liver was growing on the outside of his belly. And we were just shocked, because, I mean, we went in assuming everything was going to be fine.
Corrective surgery wasn't going to be easy. In cases like Jackson's, the abdominal cavity is often too small to accommodate the organs. If they couldn't be squeezed in, he'd face a series of operations to make room. But Jackson was a fighter. When the surgeons repositioned his organs and stretched his skin and muscles to cover them, his body seemed to cope. It was a good sign. The chances of infection were minimized.
So all in all, I'd say we were giving ourselves a few high fives.
It was amazing, kind of weight off our shoulders.
But for the Lickman family, the toughest times were still ahead. Jackson would need months of intensive, round-the-clock care if he was going to make it.
So there was a brief couple-day relief, and then the reality of taking care of a baby with these needs.
Jackson was on a respirator for the first weeks of his life. It saved him, but it caused a serious feeding disorder.
He lost the reflex of how to eat like a normal kid.
He couldn't breastfeed or take a bottle. Jackson needed a feeding tube down his nose to stay alive.
He was on a pump, pumping food into his belly continuously for 22, 23 hours a day.
Jackson spent the first month of his life in intensive care, and then it was all up to Mom and Dad.
I was honestly a little scared about him coming home.
It's a 24-hour-day job to feed one of these kids.
Oh, you brought a clean diaper.
Jackson was gradually growing until he hit 3 months, and then disaster. Suddenly, he couldn't keep anything down. Jackson was in danger of starving to death. Later, we see little Jackson continue his fight for life. But in Ecuador, another young child faced a similar problem. She was born with her bladder outside her body. A series of operations have left her with terrible scars, and her bladder is still outside her body. Lisbeth is now 3. To the outsider, she looks healthy. But like Jackson, she also has an omphalocele. Like Jackson, her stomach wall didn't form properly. And like Jackson before his operation, she faces life-threatening infection.
In regards to her daily care, the hygiene is very important, so she changes her and cleans that area as much as possible to avoid irritation and infection.
In Ecuador, it's hard to find the right surgeon to treat such a difficult condition. Her mom had nearly given up hope that Lisbeth could have a normal life.
Finally, she reached a point where she wanted to give up because she had searched tirelessly for 3 years, going to many sites in Ecuador, following the medical teams to try and get help for her daughter, and she wasn't successful.
But out of the blue, her prayers were answered. She was found by a medical team from Healing the Children Foundation.
Plan is to have Lisbeth examined and treated by the wonderful folks at Yale New Haven Hospital, who have agreed to treat her pro bono through Healing the Children.
That she feels great joy to be here, and that she has a lot of hope for her daughter to get well.
Lisbeth is on her way to Connecticut. It might take 12 months, but her problems may well be a thing of the past.
She said, my daughter is at a very impressionable age. As young as she is, she knows what she has. She feels it, she shows it to other kids, and my hope is that my kid can grow up someday and not be embarrassed, not be intimidated, and can live a normal life. So my hope is that she can heal from this and go back to Ecuador a healthy child.
The sun, the source of life on Earth. Without it, we'd all die. And many of us can't get enough of it. But for an incredibly rare few, even tiny doses are life-threatening. Hidden beneath this protective suit is 19-year-old Rafi Strauss. Without it, he would die.
I've had every known tumor or cancer that there is, basically.
Do you want?
Oh.
Rafi's one of fewer than 1,000 people in the whole world to suffer one of the rarest genetic disorders. It's called xeroderma pigmentosa, or XP. His skin can't repair the damage done by UV light, like the rest of us can.
XP can be certainly considered a lethal disease because in the end, most people with XP will die from the consequences of one of their skin cancers.
Rafi was born in Israel when very little was known about XP. Being premature, he was put in an incubator with UV lights to keep him warm.
The fluorescent light, so it sort of, you know, who knew then anything, but it sort of cooked me, and it gave me a head start.
Not knowing what was wrong with Rafi, his mother continued to treat him like any child.
After the first time that I went with him to the sun, the sunburn was very, very red. His skin was different, like very, very red. I was scared that I cooked him in the sun.
By age 1, doctors had diagnosed him with the rare and incurable XP. To save Rafi's life, his parents were advised to move to a place where the sun wasn't as intense as Israel. So they moved to New York.
The way that he explained it to us, he told us that the highest amount of ultraviolet rays that would be here in the United States would be the lowest in Israel.
But even low levels of UV can cause deadly damage to Rafi's sensitive skin. So doctors warned him not to go outside during the day. And that's meant a nocturnal existence. Because his skin can't repair the damage from UV rays, he's got 2,000 times the chance of getting skin cancer.
He can be sunburned within, a few seconds of going outside on a bright day.
The damage done early in his life hit him like a death sentence.
I was about 13, 14 years old, when they had removed the big tumor from the left cheek. And basically, this is the area where the tumor was, and they had removed the cheekbone.
To fill in the hole where his cheekbone was, doctors had to reroute a facial muscle, and months of radiation therapy seems to have stopped that tumor.
Because of his exposure to ultraviolet light and the damage to his skin that's occurred, Rafi's had literally hundreds of biopsies and skin cancer surgeries over his short lifetime so far.
As a mother, crying to see my son going through so many surgeries and difficult dealing with all this.
Fortunately for Rafi, there's a new technique for detecting cancerous cells during surgery. Called Mohs surgery, it allows doctors to find cancerous cells as they go. It means surgeons need now only remove as much skin as absolutely necessary.
XP is potentially lethal disease, and obviously if we're not vigilant and we miss a skin cancer and it has the chance to spread, that could surely be lethal.
Rafi's skin is so sun sensitive, he's not even safe in his own home. He needs to monitor the light coming through their tinted windows.
I don't even try to just step outside. Just opening the door, either to get the mail, is potential for damage. Just even if I'm sitting in the living room and someone opens the front door and the light comes in, that's also, it's enough to get damage.
Rafi has to be constantly vigilant, checking for any potential cancers. It's a daily ritual which could save his life. Firstly, he looks for any new suspect spots and then coats himself in a special cream which helps destroy any developing cancer cells he can't see.
Now that I'm taking care of myself and using all the precautions, that there is hope, and we're still waiting for new research to come out. There's still the gene therapy that's everyone I ask, they say it's around the corner. So there's a lot of hope to see for.
I was worried about his future, and the reason is because everything looked like mess. You don't know what you're dealing with and where it's going to end, and God forbid if he will die.
The doctors can remove his skin cancers, and this special safety suit can remove the risk of getting new ones. Like those worn by the astronauts, it blocks out 99.9% of UV rays. Donated by the Sarah Moody Foundation, it's given him a new lease on life. He's no longer a prisoner in his own home.
Getting that one thing that lets me go outside for, feeling free and not feeling that I'm going outside and I'm getting damage and regretting every time I open the door or something. So it's great help.
Even with the suit, life is never going to be anything like normal for Rafi. At the moment, he can't beat this cruel genetic disorder, but he manages to live through it with the strength of his family and his faith.
God only gives people what they can accept, what they can deal with. And thank God I've been dealing with it till now.
Rafi's future remains uncertain, but one thing's for sure. He's going to make the most of every single day. With 5 loving brothers and sisters, for Rafi, time with his family is precious, and they too feel blessed.
Thank you. That's the best blessing you could get.
A story so extraordinary, you'd never believe it.
The propeller on the airplane essentially cut the minivan in two.
A tale of incredible trauma.
Yeah, the doctor said, the whole leg has been severed.
A young girl suffers freakish injuries.
I looked over at Armando and really saw his knees buckle.
Everything good back there?
Yep.
Right.
For 11-year-old Ariana Jimenez, the day had started well.
Got a call early in the morning and with some dear friends who were visiting from out of state who asked if they could steal my daughter for the day and go off and have a wonderful time at the beach. And of course, she was jumping up and down saying, "Can I go? Can I go?"
But this was going to be the trip Ariana wished she'd never taken. They were driving on Interstate 680 just outside San Francisco. Ariana and her girlfriend were in back talking. At nearby Buchanan Field, a single-engine airplane was just taking off. As it climbed, the engine suddenly lost power, plummeting the plane downward at 75 miles per hour. Then, Ariana heard it.
I thought it was a motorcycle or just another car.
The airplane had speared through the vehicle she was traveling in. Ariana was right in its path.
Then I had went down to, I guess, touch and scratch my leg, and then that's when I had seen my leg.
This was a freak accident like no other. The plane had crash-landed alongside the vehicle, right next to where Ariana was seated. The plane's propeller had inflicted terrible injuries.
And unfortunately for Ariana, also sliced her femur and her leg in two.
Imagine a 3-inch wide propeller spinning at hundreds of miles an hour, smashing through the flesh, bone, and muscle of your thigh. That's what had just happened to Ariana. It wasn't a broken leg. 2 inches of her femur had just vanished.
Ariana's leg was still attached in the back. It had muscle and nerve and artery attachments.
In the blink of an eye, Ariana had gone from soccer champ to physical ruin. But at least she was still alive.
She's very lucky. Very unusual accident, very rare. But she could have, had the propeller gone another ½ inch, injured her femoral artery, and it potentially would have cost her life.
Within hours of the accident, the surgical team set about reattaching her severed leg.
Let me show you the x-ray right here. You see that there's an 1.5 inch gap, or there would be if you stretched it out to full length. We've actually compressed the bone down to allow it to heal across. If we stretched it out to its full length, there would be a large gap there. And what you see is the result over here, where you see the bone has healed completely. If we had not shortened the leg, you wouldn't have gotten full healing like you see here.
Ariana's leg had knitted, but it was now 2 inches shorter than the other.
And because of the shortness, she has a limp. She might have back problems later on, and she doesn't have the same strength in her leg that she might if it was back to normal length.
Now the surgeons have to look into the future. Ariana is 13, and they calculate her legs will grow another inch. If they stop the good one growing anymore, that will help narrow the difference between the two.
That will entail a small surgery that only takes about 45 minutes, where we destroy, through a very small incision, the growth centers on the opposite side.
And they can stretch the bad leg as well.
An inch is probably the maximum you'd want to stretch the bone, because beyond that you have difficulty healing the bone.
If it all works out, one day her legs will be almost equal in length. Ariana's bounced back. She's not on the soccer field yet, but she's got a few points to prove. And one way or another, she'll be on the winner's podium again.
She might not be a professional player, soccer player, as she wish. She might be limited to some of the physical activities that she can do, but I know she'll find something, and she'll get another trophy in something else. score another 19 goals in one season.
Let's make it 21.
21? I believe so.
After I get out of school, I'm determined to study to be a doctor because I'd want to be able to help people and share my stories with them.
Jackson Lickman was born with his liver and intestines outside his body. It was a life-threatening problem.
We were just terrified of the health of our baby.
But Jackson was strong. Surgeons were able to sew the organs back into his tiny abdomen, and Jackson began to thrive.
So there was a brief couple-day relief, and then the reality of taking care of a baby with these needs.
But at 3 months, his body began to reject all food. Once more, Jackson's young life was slipping away.
He didn't process food the same way that a normal child would, and he started vomiting excessively. And for basically, I think it was 3 or 4 months, he gained no weight.
Everything that you put in, you know, he's throwing up, and you see him getting skinnier every day. You see his spine, you see his ribs.
Their baby was going from bad to worse. Jackson was literally starving in front of their eyes. He was at the point where only more surgery could save him.
They would have had to do, you know, other more intensive surgery, and that was a scary part in it too.
I mean, it has been the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with in my entire life.
Teresa and Howard thought all was lost. But then, amazingly, Jackson's little body began to respond by itself. He slowly started to keep some of his food down.
Yay, buddy! Good boy!
We were just on top of the world. It was, you know, it was fantastic.
Look at you, big guy! Come on, let's see what you're waiting.
Finally, Jackson was growing again. It was slow progress, until finally a huge turning point at age 1. He took his first real mouthful of food.
There we go, buddy.
He soon had his favorites all worked out.
He loves fruit. He'll eat cantaloupe and grapes nonstop. Pizza?
Pizza.
Yeah, I had that last night.
Jackson will still need the feeding tube in his stomach for a while yet. He still can't eat enough to grow normally, but his future is looking pretty good.
No, the hope is within a short time he'll be able to take everything by mouth and the tube will come out. He may still have some problems with reflux and some other things, but hopefully he should be able to feed normally.
Life's getting better for the Lickman family every single day, but it's an experience they won't forget for a lifetime.
It was the worst year of our lives, bar none. I mean, it was.
Yeah. But I would do it all over again for him.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I
question
mean,
about
the outcome. Now that he's, you know, now that I feel like a little bit we've crossed that finish line. You can see that he's happy and everything like that. And so now I really feel like we're out of the woods and the future is so bright.
Cameron Clapp lived across the railroad tracks in Arroyo Grande in California. He'd lived there all his life. One night, he was crossing the tracks late. He never saw the train coming.
The police came and knocked on our door about, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, knock on the door. The one that you don't ever want to hear.
A triple amputee at just 15.
They pretty much prepared us that he was probably going to die.
Even if he made it, his life was ruined.
Cameron's injury is pretty extreme.
No legs, one arm. It doesn't get much worse than that.
They didn't really give us a whole lot of information and a whole lot of hope.
The train had completely severed 3 limbs. The terrible injuries would change the course of Cameron's life.
The expert told us that he wouldn't walk, that he would spend most of his life in a wheelchair.
Cameron remembers coming to in the hospital.
I do remember waking up and, you know, just looking down and not seeing my feet there and my arm gone.
3 days before, he'd been a healthy, active California kid. Like most teenagers, he loved sports. He didn't mind taking risks. The freight train that ran him down put an end to all that. He was alive, but at only 15, his life was in tatters, and the doctor offered him little hope.
He didn't tell me to my face, but he did tell my parents that I probably wouldn't be walking, you know.
But he didn't know Cameron or his family.
You know, as far as they were concerned, you know, their son is going to walk again, but everybody was telling them, you know, it's just not going to happen.
And the chances weren't great. His 2 legs had been amputated above the knee. His right arm was off at the shoulder. Life in a wheelchair was almost certain. But the family wouldn't give up. They searched everywhere. In Oklahoma City, they found a man with over 20 years' experience in prosthetics. They'd found Kevin Carroll.
Kevin Carroll is just a ball of fire. He just sees the possibility in all people.
That encounter was about to change Cameron's life.
Cameron, you know, not only did he not only want to walk, he wanted to run, he wanted to jump, he wanted to swim, he wanted to take golf, he wanted to do everything that he did before he lost his legs.
Words were easy. The reality was different.
We had to come up with a socket that would allow him to get up and move, because the longer he's down, the less likelihood is that he's going to get up again.
So what was going to be a long process began. How to get Cameron back on his feet again.
We quickly said, you know, it's sort of like the little baby. You know, the little baby doesn't stand up and walk one day. We have to creep before we can walk.
Imagine having to learn to walk all over again. That's what Cameron faced.
I had to rebuild these muscles to become adequate for this new form of walking.
Kevin had come up with a prosthetic leg design to suit Cameron's terrible injuries.
So what we have done, we've come up with this ComfortFlex technology that allows the muscles, like this socket system right here, that allows the muscles to fire. So when the person fires up their muscle, the socket will expand with them.
And that's an amazing breakthrough. Inch by inch, month by month, Cameron learned to walk.
To watch Cameron take his first steps without any help was just amazing.
But just walking again would have been enough for most people. Cameron wasn't like most people.
Cameron continually puts challenges in front of me, like on the screen, you know.
This time he wanted to learn to walk downstairs without holding on.
I scratched my head and said, you know, golly, this hasn't been done before, but I'm thinking to myself, this is Cameron. If you take a few steps.
It was something that no one had ever done before with prosthetic legs. The solution was to get Cameron to use a computerized knee. The microprocessors make the tiny adjustments that a human knee normally does. They gave Cameron the balance he needed to conquer the stairs.
We're like, well, nobody has ever done that before. And here's Cameron today. He can walk down step over step without holding on to anything. Just amazing to see what he can do.
He's determined to just try just about everything.
Having gone the whole 9 yards, Cameron spotted another challenge. He'd always loved swimming. Could he ever do it again? At first, it seemed impossible.
When I looked at the pool for my first time, after my accident, I was petrified because I only had one arm, and I was like, how am I gonna swim?
But Cameron doesn't understand. Impossible.
They gave me the conditioning to let my body be prepared for prosthesis. So the swimming was a very vital thing for my rehabilitation.
Now, how about swimming legs? Could someone build those for him? An ingenious design replaced the computerized knees with an ankle joint to keep the prosthetic feet pointed forward. These are connected directly to the upper leg sockets to reduce drag. Cameron took to these stubby swimming legs like a duck to water. Then he started competitive swimming, and his relay team even defeated their able-bodied opponents.
So he just always striving for more. I don't think that'll ever stop in his life.
But there was always one thing that remained close to his heart. He wanted to run again. He'd need new legs, and he had the right man for the job. His running legs have ultra-lightweight hydraulic knees and carbon fiber feet, but they don't have a heel, which is great for running, but not so good for walking. And 2 months later, he was living his dream.
On your marks, set.
The attachments for the running legs were just such a great gift because I just find so much joy in it, and I'm still improving with my running.
We're seeing something that nobody else is doing. I mean, he's the only triple amputee in the world that runs competitively.
Cameron's not afraid to push the envelope. Designers like Kevin respond with new inventions. The result is that other people with missing limbs will certainly benefit.
Just this past week, a young man arrived into our clinic who had lost both of his legs above the knee. He had given up all hope. Cameron walks into the room, both of his legs gone above the knee, missing his arm, and this little kid, his eyes just lit up. So this is real. This guy is actually in the room with me. This is real. I can actually do this.
Cameron's story is truly incredible. A medical marvel. He suffered unbelievable injuries. His life was ruined. Now he walks, he swims, he runs, he competes, and he inspires.
He has shown clinicians such as me that anything is possible. And for me as a clinician, not to stand in the way of that person's dreams and aspirations.
And incredibly, he's never looked back.
Even though it was something that was bad that happened, I've made a lot of good things out of it, and I continue to open the boundaries, even more. And I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know that there's gonna be a good future ahead of me.
Jesus Chavez came into this world with one of the rarest congenital disorders known to mankind.
Often people walk up to me and tell me that I'm the product of the devil because of the way I was born.
He has a form of hypertrichosis, commonly known as werewolf or wolfman syndrome.
This is an extremely rare condition as we know it.
Jesus is one of just a handful in a world of 5 billion people to have congenital generalized hypertrichosis. His uncle, 5 cousins, a sister, and his daughter all have the same genetic mutation. Hypertrichosis is caused by a mutation in the human genome. But there is hope for Jesus and his family.
I hope that in the next, within the next 5 years or less, that we're able to actually find the actual mutation.
But Jesus wasn't going to let his hair get him down. Jesus is a regular on the U.S. circus circuit. He works at it year-round, so he can send much-needed money home to his family.
When I'm in the circus, not all glamour. When I'm in the circus, I work, I bring down the tent, I put up the tent, and then when I perform, mostly it's coming out in front of an audience, letting people see me talk about my condition and answer some of the questions of the audience. And I also allow them to come and touch my face to see that it's real. What I have is real.
Next time you're having a bad hair day, spare a thought for Jesus. There's no way to get rid of his successfully with shaving or waxing.
My hair grows very long, especially my head hair, of course, grows like everybody else's. My facial hair grows longer and it continually grows, but the problem that I have is the one that grows around my nose and around my eyes, because it continually grows and covers my eyes, my nose, to the point that you can actually not see my face.
But Jesus refuses to hide himself from the world. He just accepts that this is who he is. And he laps up the right kind of attention.
It's kind of making me feel special when people stop me on the street and want to take my picture. Most people do that in a positive way, and they do it because they enjoy what they see as being something very different, very special.
Every year, around 2,000 Americans receive heart transplants. And at any time, there are another 3,000 on the waiting list. It's a modern medical miracle. The patient's failing heart is replaced by a healthy donor heart, but not always. Castelio Campos was on the heart waiting list for over a year. He suffered from congestive heart failure.
I estimate with this condition he will not survive more than 3 months.
Now, only a heart transplant could save him. But for Castelio, a new heart would not be enough.
A regular heart transplant will not work.
Castelio is a very rare case. He not only needs a new heart, he needs to keep his old one going as well.
We'll leave his own heart in place and then transplant another heart on top of that.
Castelio suffers from pulmonary hypertension, or high blood pressure, in the vessel that transports blood to his lungs. The solution is to keep Castelio's own heart pumping blood to his lungs. A donor heart would not adapt to the high pressure, but it can take some of the workload off Castelio's diseased heart by supplying blood to the rest of his body. It's called a heterotopic, or piggyback transplant. Time was running out for Castelio. Every day could be his last.
He almost died several times because he had what we call arrhythmia.
With so many people needing a heart transplant, Castelio had to wait months for the right donor.
The donor severity, the shortage of donor is very severe in this country.
Are you okay? ¿Está bien?
He waited over 12 months for the gift of life to arrive. Things were getting really desperate when finally the right donor heart became available. Attaching a new heart to Castelio's was never going to be easy. Putting in a transplant is one thing. Aligning 2 hearts to work as one is a complicated medical rarity. The upper left chambers of the 2 hearts need to be merged. then connections made for blood flow in and out of both hearts. The hours passed, and when Castillo finally awoke, it was to a new life.
Hi, Castillo.
He's thanking you. He's thanking you. He's very grateful for saving his life. God bless you.
Everything went very well. You should be able to get out of bed in no time.
La operación salió todo muy bien. Yo creo que vas a salir de esta cama muy pronto.
Beating side by side, for Castillo, two hearts are definitely better than one.
Here is where you had this donde tienes el corazón antiguo. This is your old heart, which is still there. It's still beating a little bit, but as you can see, it's very weak. And right next to it, al otro lado, tienes tu corazón. This is your new heart.
Le doy gracias a Dios y al médico.
I thank God and thank the doctor for giving me these two hearts.
Incredibly, just 3 months after this major operation, Castillo competed in a challenging 3-mile walk. He was determined to prove he could do it.
When I was sick, I was dreaming about walking a lot. So when they told me about the walk, the heart walk, the doctor didn't want me to do it, but I said, I'm gonna walk no matter what. And he walked.
This is Eddie Newton. When he was 3 years old, his mother found a small lump under his eye, and doctors diagnosed the rarest form of an infamous genetic disorder.
When they had the results, they showed my mom a picture of John Merrick, who's better known as the Elephant Man, and said that Ed may look like this. That is, if he lived to be past 8.
It's a mom's worst nightmare. It really is.
Eddie has neurofibromatosis, a genetic disorder of the nervous system. The particular gene responsible normally acts as a brake to stop tumor cells growing and dividing uncontrollably. But in neurofibromatosis, the brake doesn't work, and tumors can grow on nerves anywhere in the body. The tumors themselves are benign, but their presence can be deadly. In Eddie's case, the most dangerous tumors are in his skull.
Neurofibromatosis has no cure. If Eddie had not had surgery, I do not think he would be alive today because the tumors were causing such massive compression on hearing and airway of his nose and so forth. I don't think he would have survived.
Eddie's childhood memories are scarred by over 30 serious surgeries. Each time, the surgeon's scalpel removed life-threatening tumors.
Well, one of my biggest surgeries I had, it was a 7.5 pound tumor that was removed from the side of my neck. And it was quite hard for me. I just can't imagine something like that growing. Can you imagine holding 7.5 pounds of ground beef? That came from my 8-year-old neck. I was 8 years old. I lost my sense of taste and smell. Teeth pretty much got decayed, or some of them cracked and fell out. I guess it's the life I gotta live.
Eddie's condition was unknowingly inherited. His sister, brother, and mother have mild forms, but like most sufferers, they don't get the life-threatening tumors he does. So their family condition had not been diagnosed.
My dad had it, and he was in the Army. They told him it was horse bites.
Now, at 36, his tumors have grown past the point where they can be removed.
He's had recurrence over and over of the tumors. He's had multiple surgeries to reduce the size and the number of the neurofibromas, and they just regrow. They are so intrinsically wound up in the skull bones and in the facial muscles and around the eye and neck that he would not be able to survive if they were completely removed.
With tumors growing in his skull, putting pressure on his brain, Eddie endures agonizing pain.
The condition physically affects me. I get severe migraine headaches that can last anywhere from 8 or 6 to 8 weeks at a time. It feels like it's pretty much like death for me. It hurts. A lot of times, I'll just like lay in bed, curled up in a ball. Sometimes I'll cry because the pain's so great.
The only thing worse than the sickening pain of the migraines is the thought that the next one could be his last.
You know, and you hear stories of people with aneurysms. They'll have a migraine and they'll just lay down, go to sleep, not wake up. That's something I quite think about almost all the time. You know, is this an aneurysm coming on? What is it?
Defying medical predictions, Eddie made it to his 20s. But then his life fell apart. Dumped by his girlfriend, he joined a circus. There, folks paid big bucks to peer at Eddie, the man with two faces. But he wasn't happy.
It really hurt me. I just didn't feel nothing. I was emotionally dead.
Eddie realized then that there was more to him than his different face. That was a turning point in Eddie's life. Accepting his body, he left the circus with a new purpose and attitude.
I don't regret it at all. I'll chalk it up as a learning experience. I really enjoyed that time that I had because I found out who I am, made me a better person than I am today.
Eddie's own school life was a living hell. Kids loved to tease the deformed boy. But today, Eddie finds comfort in the classroom.
Okay, most of you know that we've been talking about having Eddie Newton come in today to guest speak to you. And Eddie has faced a lot of obstacles due to the illness, and he's going to come in and talk to you about some of the obstacles that he's faced. Come on in, Eddie, and we're going to give him a big round of applause.
Well, you know, as you can see that my face may shock you guys, but I can assure you that I'm not an accident, that God did create me for a purpose, and my purpose is here to tell you my story.
It's all part of his positive approach to a condition he has now learned to deal with.
I've never had to go through anything like that, and just to see him and how humble he is and just how he's dealt with his life gives me the courage that, you know, I can make it through life as well, that it's gonna be okay.
I think he's a really strong person and, you know, maybe a role model for anyone who's having low self-esteem or, you know, thinks that my life is so bad. You know, they should listen to him talk, and I think it'll definitely change their opinion.
Doctors can't tell for sure how long Eddie's got to go. He's already lived many years longer than he was expected to. For now, every day's a bonus.
The doctors have said, you know, I've got a certain time frame, but my main doctor, you know, I love her, she's great. She's just saying that God will take me when he wants. And I agree with her. I'm just going to live, you know, day to day and just enjoy it as I can.
I believe that Eddie is a miracle. Eddie's case is a miracle, and primarily because he has been through hellacious surgeries, and he has come out with an attitude that is so giving and blessing, and such a lovely person to know. And his ability to help others understand that it doesn't matter what we look like, it matters who we are and what kind of people we are, is a gift that he has given to the world.